Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Been a really busy week this week for reasons that will kind of become clear as we go through this, but let's try and do things chronologically, roughly in the order in which they happened. So let's start off with some good news for Teams developers, specifically those who have looked into the Teams app templates already, because there are two new app templates that dropped this week and they're both really good actually. They're both proper projects that I think most organizations could benefit from in some way. They're also really good code samples that pretty much, like I would say, every developer in this team space should be looking through this project for ideas, or both of these projects for ideas. And so the two new projects that have been sort of announced and made available are Company Communicator and FAQ+. So let's go through each of them quickly. I did a blog post about them, but Company Communicator is a way for you to send out messages to groups of people, so your corporate communications. And it sort of automates that process of picking a group of people, putting together a nicely formatted message with some pictures and all the rest of it, and then bulk sending it to a group of people, either by dropping it into specific channels or by messaging people directly as chat at scale. So that's kind of interesting. Out of the box, it might just be exactly what you need, but of course this is all open source stuff. It's all on GitHub, so you can add anything you need. You can make it specific for your organization. You can brand it. You've got so many options. The second one is FAQ+, which is a bit like like a Q&A bot. So I've covered those a lot with using Q&A Maker and to quickly build up bots that can answer questions using a bit of AI combined with the knowledge base you provide it. This is like that and uses all those same technologies, but if the question can't be answered by the AI because it's a question it's not seen before, it will actually hand it off to a human agent. So it's kind of a combination of that Q&A side of things plus a bit of agent finding to kind of tie you up with the right expert as well. So both of those I think super useful little projects, both very ripe for somebody to take and make right for their own organization, customize it a little bit, lots of different options going on there. So I wanted to make you aware of both of those things because I think they're both really valuable resources across the board. So it's interesting, like they're very useful for developers because it's all source code you can go and read if you're coming into this space. This is Microsoft best practice. I learned something the last time I looked at Icebreaker bots, so there is always things to learn from looking at the code because everybody does things in slightly different ways. The benefit of having these code samples that come directly from Microsoft is that they know how to do things that may not always be documented or maybe about to be documented. Like there's best practices and there's also ways and means of getting around problems and workarounds. You can find those if you look through this code because it's real developers solving challenges. So really, really useful. Okay, so moving on to the second item and probably the big story of the week for me certainly was around Microsoft Ignite. So Ignite is coming soon. It is at the beginning of November. So this is Microsoft Ignite. This is Microsoft's tech conference. And it's traditionally been IT Pro heavy, but more and more it's been developer focused as well. And this year specifically, they're calling out a developer track. So they are having specific developer sessions as well. So it's not just an IT Pro event, it's an IT Pro and developer event. Really big news for me this time around is that I'm going to be a community reporter at Microsoft Ignite. So if you don't know what that means, go and watch the videos on my YouTube. I've got some information there about it. Basically, it means I'm working for you guys and all of you who listen to this and watch this, and everybody you please let them know this. My job is to work to bring you the best parts of Microsoft Ignite, and that sort of is true whether you're there or not. So if you're there, you can't possibly get around all of what Microsoft Ignite has to offer because it's too big. So my job there will be bringing information to your attention, interviews with execs, what's happening on the floor, news as it happens, interesting sessions you may not be aware of, tips and tricks and everything just to really kind of make your experience as best as it can be. If you're not going to be there in person, Microsoft Ignite is one of the best conferences to attend remotely. So what I'll be doing for you there is bringing you up-to-date information, daily digests of everything that's been happening, a bit of the sense of the atmosphere of the place, as well as kind of calling out those interviews and the news as it happens as well. So it's going to be a really, really busy week for me. I'm very, very excited. It's going to be a lot of hard work. It's not just me doing it. There are 10 community reporters drawn from across the kind of sphere around MVPs, RDs, but also non-Microsoft accredited people in the community, just really kind of interesting people. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really good. It brings me nicely onto the next link I gave you actually in the notes, which is a Twitter list I put together of all the reporters. So I would recommend you go and subscribe to that list, because then you'll get all the news, not just the news I'm bringing you, 10x the news I'm bringing you. Also, so as part of that process, you'll start to see more and more content from me that's focused on Microsoft Ignite over the next 2 months. One of those came out as a video, and so what I'm probably going to try and do is not blog post everything I do that's solely Microsoft Ignite, but you'll see that content show up in Twitter and in YouTube. So just a kind of FYI, I'll try and call it out on these weekly updates as well, but otherwise I'm just kind of writing blog posts saying, hey, look at this video, and that's not hugely valuable. So did a video this week that went straight to YouTube, and it's because the session catalog is available for Microsoft Ignite now. And what does that mean? It means that you can go and look and see some of the sessions that are available, not all of the sessions that are available. There are 5 tips that I have that I will do, and I think you should do between now and Ignite starting. I put them all together in that video, so if that sounds interesting, go and watch that. There's also a secret tip in there about how to read session codes. So that's all the kind of Ignite news. Finally, deep breath, I wanted to draw your attention to a YouTube channel which I was not previously aware of, which is the Visual Studio YouTube channel. And there's loads of content there. I'm just going to bring it up so I can just kind of bring you some kind of up-to-date, real-time information about what's there. It's a good aggregation point for places, so from content that comes from Channel 9, the content that comes from Visual Studio product teams and other places as well. So you'll have the Azure Friday 5 in there, I would imagine, or I can't see it, but probably so. You'll have, what else is in here? There's loads of stuff in here. There's some stuff around personalizing Visual Studio. There's some debugging tips and tricks. There's how to go through the MS Build structured log viewer. Yeah, loads and loads of interesting stuff that I highly recommend you add to your, if you're a YouTube person, highly recommend you you add this to your YouTube channel listings, because there's bound to be some interesting content if you kind of go through that as well. So lots to leave you with today, lots of media to leave you with, lots of videos to go and watch, which is interesting. So I think that's everything for me this week. Have a great weekend. If it's a long weekend for you in the US, then enjoy the time off. In the UK it is not, so everybody back on Monday please. And have a great weekend, and have a good week, and I will see you again next week, and I imagine there'll be more Microsoft Ignite news as well coming next week. Alright, thanks very much everyone, and see you again. Bye.